Today's topic is thinking and awareness. So, something that I've heard quite frequently is that awareness contains all things. So, awareness is a container within which all phenomena arise. And the fact that we know something is arising and we can label it allows us to be conscious of awareness. So, in all the meditation teachings that I've heard, lately I've been listening to a lot of the non duality teachings, which talk about the I am. So, the I am, which comes before name and form and recognition. So, the sense of I am, which is always there. So, a lot of teachers emphasize going to that sense of I am when discursive thought and sort of other disturbing phenomenon come up. But what I found in my own practice, and I don't know if this is the case for other people, is that when you're sitting in meditation and a thought arises or a phenomenon arises, a lot of the time, it's like, the analogy I'd like to use is that of a monitor, a one screen monitor with one window. So what appears on the screen is just what's actually arising in the mind at the time. So if it's a thought, then all your awareness is fully on the thought at that moment. So there's no, at least for me, there isn't a separation between a watcher and the thought at that moment. At that moment, the thought is everything that's on the screen. In the window, it's not like there's two windows open. There's one for awareness and there's one for thought. Thought is the entirety of the screen, and awareness that there's been thinking, that there's thought, only comes in as an interruption. So the thought window closes and the awareness window opens and goes, "Oh, you've been thinking." Thought was happening in that moment. And of course, a lot of teachers, my teacher, Ajahn Viradhamma says that's, when you have that moment of awareness, that's a good thing. So you were lost in thought and then you came to awareness. And I kind of struggled with how to hold something like discursive thought and awareness together. But I found something which was quite interesting. I don't know how many people are aware of the sound of silence as a meditation practice. It's something that's been taught by teachers like Ajahn Sumedho, where if you sit in a very quiet place, then what happens is that you hear this high-pitched hum, like a buzzing sound. Some people call it tinnitus. And that's just like constantly there. It's just constantly there. And if you settle your attention or your awareness onto that, because that's like anchoring awareness as a base into the mind. And then when a thought comes, that awareness of the sound of silence in the background is always there, right? So the sound of silence is going, and then a thought comes. So in a sense, you've kind of opened up awareness. So awareness is open, and you're aware of awareness, and you're also aware of the thought. And suddenly, what happens is the thought doesn't take up 100% screen space. It's like there's a background window open of awareness, via the sound of silence. And thought comes up as like a pop-up screen on the window, or using the traditional analogy of the mind as the open blue sky. So that sense of awareness, or the sound of silence as the open blue sky, and then boop, cloud pops in, and you haven't completely been hijacked by the cloud. Your awareness is resting in that sense of space or awareness, and then the thoughts come up, so it hasn't hijacked anything. And similarly, body awareness that my teacher John Suchito speaks about is like you're constantly aware of your body. I mean, the question he asks is, how do I know I have a body? So you feel the weight of the body on the seat. You feel the qualities, like in Buddhism we have the qualities of the five elements, earth, water, fire, um, and wind. So you could start with the quality of earth, or the hardness, or the hardness of the bones. Or if you're looking at the air quality, then you're looking at the breath, so you're aware of the breath. And having one of these objects of meditation as a core base, which is sort of like a programmer running in the back, either the sound of silence or the breath or the feeling of the body. And some people even use mantra, like the old teachers in the Thai forest tradition would utter the phrase Buddho, Buddho, which is the name of the Buddha. And having Buddho constantly as a phrase, then when thought comes in or anything else comes in, it's not the primary phenomenon. And of course, the goal with all this stuff is to be able to take this out in the real world. So John Sumedho used to give this example of going into meetings where people were talking about very heavy technical or financial topics, and he'd have the sound of silence in the background, just constantly aware of this. And the phenomenon's coming, and he's not blocking that other phenomenon, but it's coming in, but it's not overtaking the mind, it's not engulfing the mind in a sense. So it's keeping you grounded. And in a sense, it's also something so beautiful, because consciousness is the thing that all phenomenon arise into. It's like this divine phenomenon which has no beginning, which has no end. It's called the deathless in Buddhism. So if you can connect with the deathless through this practice and be in touch with the deathless at every moment, if you can. I mean, it's a practice and it takes repetition. But how wonderful is that? So I offer this for your reflection.